Hi guys, and welcome to part 2 of the CSL replica build. Now, as you can probably see, we're not in the M3 today, we're in my trusty 320D on the way to go and see the M3, which has currently been in storage for a long 4.5 months. So I'm looking forward to starting work on it. Now, I did go and see it last weekend and we had a play fit with the bumper, so we'll fast forward to that shortly. Before we do that, I'll also go over what I did to prepare the bumper that I picked up. Now, as I said, it is a CSL replica. It wasn't a genuine part, so there were some requirements of trimming, so to speak, and making it fit. So we'll forward to that now.
So on to the next big upgrade for the CSL replica is obviously the bumper. Now I've got this one from SSDD Motorsport, literally down the road from me, which is ideal. As you can see, it looks like the real deal, obviously for a fraction of the cost. A genuine one used is going to be about £2,500, and Teddy at SSDD does these for about £480, and they also come with the carbon splitters, which are absolutely gorgeous. Now, as it is a replica bumper, you have got to expect for a fraction of the cost of a genuine one that it isn't going to fit like OEM, otherwise everyone will be buying them over the original. And there are a few casting flaws that you can see here, which we're going to work off with the Dremel. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. It's got the original tow hook cover, and the quality is plastic, which is nice. And now the reason I wanted to go with this over the fiberglass one is fiberglass does have a tendency to crack. So if you hit a curb, if you hit any potholes too hard, or even just speed bumps, rather than it flexing like this one does, you're going to end up with something cracking. So with the front bumper in particular, we've gone with the SSDD here, as you can see. So if you guys are interested in buying one, I'll drop the link in the video, and that also does come, like I say, with the carbon splitters and the number plates around if you choose to run it. So as I said, we've got some bits to do trimming wise. Got another bit here that's just like an overhang bit that's not needed. You just need this part here to hold the splitter in, and you also need to drill out the bottom and put the clips in. Now on my one I'm going to be using some plastic rivet clips. I've seen people use wood screws, which I'd strongly recommend against, because they just won't hold the splitters on. So if you start getting any serious speed, they will literally just pull the wood screws out and be absolutely no good, and you're going to be looking at about £130 for a new set of splitters. Now another thing to note, which is quite peculiar, is in the air intake hole there's sort of a fog light surround. I don't know what it is, it looks like it's to hold some sort of light, but because I've got the CSL intake, we're obviously not going to need that, so we're going to cut that out today, and then obviously get it ready, and then we'll go and trial fit the old go on the car, make sure it all fits, and then it'll be off to the body shop. So now the next job is to put the splitter in place, and because it doesn't come with any pre-drilled holes, you're going to need to clamp it into position, like I've done here, just to make sure you're happy with the fit around the edges, and then when you're ready, you can then drill a couple of holes in the bottom for your push rivets. So I've just taken the splitter over to the bench and drilled 4 holes in it, just ready for the pot rivets. So with the bumper upside down, you can now see the little plastic rivets are in there holding my first splitter on. If we flip it over, see that they've popped through, and that will stop it coming off anytime soon. And just for my OCD, I've pinned the splitters together and then just marked the holes through on the other side so that will be identical mounting points. Now with the intake duct all cleaned up and that restrictor plate removed.
As you can see, it wasn't ready to fit straight away, so we did do some trimming with the Dremel. Got it on the car, trial fitted it. Everything seemed to go well until I put the foam, it's like the carrier, bumper carrier on. And I think it might be because I got a facelift car with a Kevlar one, it just didn't fit right. So I've had to trim the foam. Unfortunately I didn't get too much footage of that, but I got some pictures. And then it was off to the body shop. So for me, I'm not a body shop person, I always rely on other people to do it. I've had a go of it in the past, and to be honest with you, when you know it isn't your calling in life, you leave it to people who know what they're doing. Now, some guys I work with kindly let me have a go at prepping it myself, and I can tell you what, I did not expect it to need that much work, because I assumed it was primered and ready to go. But the guys I work with said, look, if you paint this, it's going to have orange peel, it's going to look terrible, so it's going to need some repairing, also some filling, especially for the dimples where it was removed from what was the mould. And yeah, do you know what, I'm really happy with it. So it's in the body shop now, getting painted, so we're going over to see the car today, like I say, just to do some other bits. It'll be in the part 3 video. But hopefully when I next come back, it'll be bolting the boot lid on and putting the bumper on, so we should be looking like CSL. So I've just removed the standard brake cooling duct with the intake. As you can see, it goes through a small hole to the inside of the wheel, and on the top there's a small opening that feeds the stock airbox. Now on mine, with the CSL intake, you can see the triangular opening there. That will now be a duct down to where the fog light used to be. So as you can see, we've taken the bumper off now, and these foam strips on the top unfortunately have fallen off as we've removed it. So I've double-sided that one back on. I've just added a new strip now to put that one on so they don't move when we put the CSL bumper on. So I haven't put the carrier on yet from the old bumper, but just bolting it straight in, I'm actually pretty happy with that fit, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people are slagging them off saying that they look horrible, but if you're really that fussy, just go and buy an original one for £2.5 grand. So the next thing you've got to do is remove the bumper carrier. Now it looks like they're just melted flanges on there, so you've got to take a few of these little bumper clips out, just a few Torx bolts, and we'll start removing that, ready to transfer over to the rep bumper. So we've got the brace back in. I've just clamped it in with a couple of clamps so it's all in position and centered, and we're now going to start remelting the center caps there with the solder iron. So you can now see I've mounted all the plastic bits. It's not the prettiest looking, but it's not going anywhere now, and if you did need to switch back to the standard, you could just unmelt them again, put that back on your original bumper. So finally, you just need to take your original clips off of the standard bumper, ping them into place so that it'll hold the arch liner. So as you guys can see, the bumper is fully painted. We've got it all assembled with my carbon splitters on, my little number plate board on as well, which has all been trimmed down. Now I went with a slightly smaller plate. I believe it was an 84mm drop, and I've modified the surround, and I'll overlay a little clip now of just what I did when I was trimming it apart, just so that it just looks a bit cleaner, because now the number plate doesn't overhang the centre part of the grille. I didn't want to run without a plate for obvious reasons of getting unwanted attention whenever you go out anywhere, but this looks like it still obviously has a front plate on there. It is a smaller size, so it is only for, should we say, show use, and obviously I'll put the standard one back on when I'm out and about. But if you just look at the quality of it, I don't think my camera's going to pick it up, but it looks absolutely stunning. It looks just like a factory piece. And the guys I work with who did this for me have done an absolutely splendid job. Now I did do some filling and some preparation on it, and I really didn't expect to need to do that much because I believe it came ready primed, but as you saw in the earlier part, I did have to trim it. And once that was done, we went into the body shop and they said there was a lot of little dimples. I had some dimples here, which were from where it looked like it come from the releasing agent, but thankfully filled all that in, all the imperfections. The grill's obviously all one piece into it. And yeah, started putting it together last night, much to my girlfriend's delight in the lounge. It's obviously living in the house now, as we've had some snow in the UK, which is unusual, which is now going to slow the process down and getting it put back together. But really happy with it. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to get it back on the car now. So the next thing to talk about is the ducting that I've purchased. Now I've gone with a neoprene tubing. It's 100mm in diameter, and I've gone with a 2-ply. And the reason I've gone with a 2-ply is on the single ply, it looks almost identical, but it suffers with the inner coil being exposed. So what happens is when this all gets wet in here, it ends up getting all rusty, and I had it on a Renault Sport a couple of years ago, so you spend a little bit more money, and the inside's fully coated as well. And that size, being 100mm, will just go straight on to the back of the CSL bumper duct there, and that'll go straight up to the airbox. So it should be essentially a ram air effect, or at least a cool air coming in, so no heat soak from the engine bay other than the other opening on the top. So I'll go into more detail when we fit that, but it's about £15 for the ducting, so it's not a lot of money. There's enough there probably to do 2 or 3, so even if any gets damaged from stone chips or anything like that, I've got plenty to replace if required. So with the bumper all back on, it was finally time to put the ducting in place. So as you can see, it goes onto the front bumper. It's just a case of now sliding it onto the ducting. Now I have bonded it to the bumper, but not to the snorkel, so it can be removed when you're changing the filter. Finally, it's just put the arch liner in. Now the original screw did have to be changed over to another location, you see, just on the corner, just to stop it rubbing on the wheel. But other than that, small hole, it's all done. So whilst the bumper was in at the body shop getting treated
to some paint, it was time to pull the old diffuser off. Now it's quite simple. There's about 6 clips in the bottom, and then you just pull from one corner and it should remove the diffuser. You'll obviously be left with a big gap. Now I bought one on eBay, it was about £230 and it came all painted in the colour. You can contact the guys and they should be able to match it to a standard BMW colour. And it makes a really big difference to the rear end of the car. Really happy with it. And obviously it's a straight bolt on, so if you do want to turn the car back to standard afterwards, you just simply unplug it and put your old one back on. So with all the bodywork complete, the final finishing touch was going to be the CSL wheels. Now these are available from CM Wheels, and the guys there do a replica of the original. You can have them in silver, black, all sorts of colours and options, and they just look absolutely fantastic on the car. I also purchased a set of 12mm spacers to go all round on the car. Again, all the links will be in the description part of the video, and to be honest with you, I'm chuffed to bits with the quality of them and the finish, considering how cheap they are. I believe it's around £550 for a full set, so you really can't complain of that. And if you do curb it or you buckle one or anything like that, it's so much easier just to replace one rather than try and buy a genuine CSL wheel, and obviously if you had to refurbish them. So for a slightly heavier weight, I really can't complain, and the quality looks absolutely great on the car. So our little package has just turned up from UPS. Well, I say little, it's all the way from Bulgaria. Hopefully we will have a CSL replica boot lid inside. Another thing you're going to need when you're buying the CSL boot lid, whether it's genuine or an identical copy, is a new wiring loom for the number plate lights and the actual bulb holders themselves. So it's 2 bulb holders and just the one loom, and that comes about £35, and I actually got mine from Csl BMW and they did that for £33 all in, including delivery, so not too bad. And obviously it's all genuine, should work and plug in with the stock loom.
As always guys, if you enjoyed the video, please give us a like and a subscribe for the channel. We have got obviously another 2 more episodes, and we'll do a final recap on everything when it's done, and probably when I'm completely skinned from spending all the money on the car. The weather's only going to get better, so we're hoping to do some drives out. We're also planning an Alps trip this year, so fingers crossed we get the old e46 in the mountains with some great footage for you guys as well. Till next time.